In this second episode of No Filter Niu Ailan, we are going to dive into more encounters that intrigued me and shifted my whole perspective of how I saw myself as a Niu Islander, as a resource owner, and as a land owner for this beautiful province in the beautiful country of Papua New Guinea. In the last episode, I shared the first part of my story on my personal journey and how the political infighting had created an environment which was not really that conducive for us as professionals to thrive in, and how it infiltrated into the communities. Sad, but reality. That is the reality that we face on the ground. On the flip side though, the reason for having this brought into light is to look at solutions. And in this platform, we call for action to encourage people to share, repost, click on that copy button and put it on your bio as much as we can, get this video out so that we can get people to pay attention to the content that we create here and the cry on behalf of the people of Niu Ailan and Papua New Guinea for change, so that we can make an influence, a positive influence on the change, the state of affairs that we are facing now, for the betterment of our children and our children's children in future. All right, before we go into the details, let me give a big shout out to my sister from Fiji, Langi, the comment up here, and to Mama Solutions, Mama, all the way from England, for the word of encouragement. These are the very words that pushes us to do more and influence positive change in our communities. So, diving into the story that I wanted to tell you about, the personal encounter. This is what shifted my whole perception as a Niu Islander. During one of my encounters, I had an exchange with a very interesting individual of mixed parentage, Niu Ailan and Papua New Guinea, other parts of Papua New Guinea, and Australian, Chinese, English, mixed parentage. She had a very peculiar request for me, and she asked me if I could do her a favor, and part of it involved me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning with her to go to the traditional kitchen hut, which we call house cook in the Pidgin Topisin language, house cook, and to document her using a traditional shell knife that our ancestors used to use before. In parts of our province, there are women who still use this during big feasts and customary preparation of food, especially the traditional way of doing the baking in hot stones, which we call mumu. So it involved me getting up with her to get pictures and videos of her using that, being taught by the women in the village how to use it. And I found it rather, it was something that I would normally overlook, because it's something that I've watched women doing that when I was growing up, so it was not really a big deal for me. However, that exchange taught me to that, this is part of me that is slowly going into extinction, because there are parts of the province that we don't use that anymore. We have knives, so why would we use traditional shells to be peeling garden food? She told me something that has stuck with me for this last 4 years, and it has shifted my whole look on Niu Ailan and Niu Islanders and landowners and resource owners. She said, Becky, you are privileged to know exactly where you come from, your origin, your tribe, your bloodline, and you know where home is for you. My whole life, I've been traveling and looking for where I come from, my origin. When I come to Papua New Guinea, I'm seen as of mixed race parentage. When I go to Australia, they see me like I'm either black or I'm from China. When I go to China, they see me as I'm a black woman. So I'm still looking for that, and I spent my whole life looking for that. And in that moment, I saw things from I never ever in my whole entire life before that moment saw myself in that light. Anyway, fast forward to 2022, I had a scholarship under the fellowship of the Urgent Journalism Network, EJN, to travel to Canada. And while there, we were trained as journalists to cover some of the most exciting conservation stories, and we had the opportunity to rub shoulders with high level people with influence in the political arena, in the conservation space, marine conservation, in the investment space. And in one of the high-level segment meetings that I was assigned to cover, we were asked in the room to stand up as Papua New Guineans. And the Prime Minister for Canada asked us, why do you always have middle people representing Papua New Guinea and asking for investments? Why do we have to go through a third party agent to get to you? You must know that Papua New Guinea is one of the most unique countries in the world, that 90% of the land still belongs to the customary landowners, or 3 kilometers that is from the terrestrial waters of the ocean belongs to the customary landowners. That is, if we get the Marine Protection Act approved, like we have for Murat and Lobongai Elegy, that's what empowers and gives back to the people. And there are investors that want to come and invest, but it is just that portion. And so it goes back to linking that back to what this particular individual told me a couple of years before that travel to Canada. It dawned on me as a Niu Ailander, and I want to make this call to all Niu Islanders now, to know what your right is, what my right is as a resource owner. Instead of being complacent to the lowly handouts that have been given by people that are in power, we really should go back to the land, and we really should be looking at identifying what resources we have in our backyard. We have a very high, endless potential of tourism, activities, attraction, cultural values. It is high time for us as resource owners to go back and identify those resources and see how best we can do, how best we can cultivate whatever God-given resources that we have in our backyard to sustain our livelihood. And yes, we can complain that there is no proper political will behind us, but we have to start doing something for ourselves and stop being complacent, because we have the God-given resources, we have the land, that's why we were being placed here strategically, so that we can utilize these resources to sustain ourselves and to make our lives become better, not for us, but for the generations that are coming after us. So ladies and gentlemen, do share this video, and let's get the word all over. Let's make it viral, and we will see you on the next episode of Niu Ailan No Filter.